Now, in this video, I want to talk about the skills. What is a skill? A skill is basically the following. Imagine you are repeating a certain prompt over and over again, and you're doing it several times, and you notice that you're doing it the exact same way over and over again. That is when you decide to make out of this specific way of prompting the agent, a skill. Because you know that the output, the results that you get out of it are basically almost very similar, the same. Yeah, and that's when we decide to use that process to create a so-called skill. That's it. Now, whatever we read now is basically for you to understand the overview, the vision, the idea of a skill. Now, this information will go to the agent, and the agent will use that in order to solve that for you, yeah, to build the skill for you. But you should know about how the skill has to look like, and you should especially know how to handle skills. All right, so the first thing I want to mention here is that there are skills that you can create by yourself, that you can instruct the agent to do for you. And then there are skills that you can, for example, download on the internet or receive from other sources and add to your project. The first most important aspect is that when you decide to build a skill for yourself with your agent, you know that it's basically you are the source of the information. If you decide to implement a specific skill from outside and add it to your project, you have to basically go and make sure that that skill that you are adding now is not a security risk. So the first thing you want to run is a security check on that skill before you add it into your project. We have here, for example, the security, the read before running part that basically makes sure that we are checking that there is nothing inside that skill that might be harmful to the project. So we have to make sure that risk is out of sight. Yeah. And if there is any risk, we do not add that skill to the project, or we have to come up with our own solution and create our own skill, which is why we have that SKILL.md file, because this file will help you to basically create your own skill. If you notice, okay, there's a process that I've been doing now over and over again, I just instruct the agent to do that skill, to create a skill for me. Or I can ask the agent, hey, agent, is there a way for us to build a skill for that specific process? Help me out. And the agent will read that instruction and understands, all right, there is something we can do here. Let's create a skill. Now, the SKILL.md files, where do they live? They live here under the .claude/skills folder. You have a .claude folder where you basically have the skills folder, and inside that skills folder, we add those very specific skills, such as, for example, in this example, we use the review changes skill, which is located inside the .claude folder /skills folder, subfolder /review changes, and then the SKILL.md file that basically shows the instruction of that very specific skill, the review-changes skill. This here is now basically an example. We talked about the security risk. We must make sure that it is not the case, so we do not want to have any security issues. We must check them. So we instruct Claude to basically, if we add a skill from the outside, to check if everything is fine with that skill. Basically, it reviews basically anything that has been recently edited, and it verifies that modified files meet project standards according to the rules that we give within that skill file. So here are the rules. We have the methodology, yeah, we have the rules, we have the output format, and then we have the edge cases. And we also add an example of how that's basically has to look like when it outputs information, when it basically tells you if everything is fine with that skill or after using that skill or not. And that is basically the overview, the way I want you to think about skills. So it's basically one of the most important tools we can use when we are building projects professionally and systems professionally, is by using and creating those skills, by combining or collecting skills, by making sure those skills are up to date and up to our current workflow. So skills are hugely hugely important. This file will go to Claude, to your agent, and your agent will read that and understand also immediately how you want things to be done with skills. That's it. In the next video, we'll talk about the hooks